Welcome back into Farrington Stadium. Nick Batters with you. Happy to have you with us. Beautiful day for softball in Tempe. ASU, they lead 2-0. And as Ellie Jensen, the center fielder, steps into the box, I'm joined alongside Lindsey Ellis, the head coach of the Arizona State women's hockey team. Lindsey, thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
So ASU women's hockey just wrapped up their second season, their first ever berth to the WWCHL Conference Playoffs, the first pitch taken for a strike. So for those who haven't followed ASU women's hockey, kind of walk our viewers through what this past season was like.
Yeah, so we came into the season with only 2 wins the previous year, and that being at the end of the season, we were hungry for more, and once we tasted those wins, we just wanted more and more, and to be able to go through the season, have 8 wins instead of 2, and then we also had a tie. We earned our first playoff bid, which was huge for our program in the second year, so we're really, really excited for what we can do in the future.
Sun Devils ended the season ranked as the number 15 team in the country. Count now 1-2 to Jensen, the freshman center fielder, hitting .382 on the season. You talk about it, eight wins this year compared to 2 last year in your first season. And that was with a similar roster size. You had a short bench both years, and a lot of the players really stepped up. You had several returners and a couple of key freshmen, one of them Catherine Jones, third on the team in goals. But really, top to bottom, there were a lot of crucial players impact, whether it be as a forward or defenseman. 1-2 pitch taken off the plate. And one of the important things heading into next season, you lose 4 of your seniors, the 4 seniors, the graduating captains of the team. Talk about the impact that Casey McGinley, Taylor England, Danica Borges, and Amber Gallus had on the program.
They were huge for our program. I don't think we would ever start this program without that type of leadership, and without their play on the ice, we wouldn't be where we are now without them. So we're so thankful for everything they've done for us, and I always know I'll be able to look in the stands and see them cheering us on.
So Jensen reaches first base safely on an infield single. Sun Devil infield will take a moment to regroup as the Minnesota lineup heads back to the top of the order. Casey McGinley named to the all-conference team as a defenseman. The athletic trainer for ASU is going to come out. Trisha Ford will enter the infield as well. That's Daniel Gibson, the first baseman that they were talking to. And while we have the athletic trainer out here, I suppose it'd be an appropriate time to talk about that. There were some injuries to the team this year, and that was something that you guys battled right through, especially with the short bench. How nice was it to know that even with exactly 2 lines, you could still compete on a day-to-day basis?
It's good to see that they persevere through all of that. We've had anything that could happen to us has happened to us, so they just persevere through everything, and I think that strengthens their bond on and off the ice.
As an only second-year program, how helpful is that in terms of building up a new program to have experienced essentially everything?
It's huge, especially going into next year. We have so many new players. We will have more new players than returners. So, that culture, everything that we've built so far, it'll be exciting to see who steps up next year as our leaders. We've had the same 4 leaders for 2 years. So, it'll be a new group of leaders once fall comes around.
One of those leaders, one of the seniors, Danica Borges, in the JMC 394 class that helps produce these broadcasts. She's off at baseball right now. If you are interested in that in between the breaks of the 2 softball games today, you can head over and check out ASU Livestream 1. Danica's producing that stream. ASU, the baseball team, they're looking to win the series against the UNC Wilmington Seahawks. The new batter, Kendall Lindemann, singled her last time up. Check swing, called the strike anyway. And one of the interesting things that you dealt with this season as a coach was the fact that there were some forwards, Danica being one of them, that played as a defenseman at various points. You had a few different players. One of those players that really stepped up at the end of the season, Alyssa Ayers. She had a fantastic year. So that pitch hits Lindemann. She'll jog on down to first base, but talk about the impact that Alyssa made on the program. Her first year being with the team as a sophomore, really stepping up into kind of a leadership role.
Yeah, she has made such a big impact on the ice, whether that be at forward or at defense. And she hasn't played competitive hockey for a few years, so for her to just be able to step right back into college hockey and, make that big of an impact, it'll be, so interesting to see how she continues to just develop over the next few years.
0-1 pitch taken for a called strike. Runners on first and second. Jensen stands out on second. Kendall Lindemann on first. Partain, her last time up, she singled in the top of the first inning. Maha comes, sets, delivers the pitch. Taken for a ball, so the count evened up 1-1. And there was really a lot of flexibility. You had people like Aubrey Beskett, a natural center, playing on the wing, and like I talked about, Danica Borges and Alyssa Ayers, among others, playing as a defenseman. How helpful is it to have a roster of players that are willing to move around anywhere when you don't necessarily have the size to play the exact lines that you want?
Yeah, when you have 10 players, everybody needs to be a two-way player, whether that be, a defense that gets stuck in the offensive zone or, whatever the situation may be. But, it was so awesome to see as a coach, all of our players be able to play, basically any position that we would put them in.
1-2 pitch swung on and missed for strike three. The first strikeout of the afternoon for Brianna Maha. Sydney Dwyer steps to the box. Double play opportunity. Chance for Maha to get out of the inning. And in case this is the last batter, I have to talk about one of the most important players in your roster, Jordan Nash Bolden. You played with only one goalie this season, and she was absolutely fantastic in that. First pitch taken for a called strike. Jordan played in all 24 games, every minute of the season, all 1,499 of them. Faced exactly 1,000 shots. Made 921 saves. How nice is it as a coach to have someone in net that you can constantly rely on every single night and know that she won't necessarily get worn out?
It's pretty unbelievable, especially when you think about it. She's only a sophomore, and she's been facing so many shots, and we had a harder schedule this year. And, just for her to be able to step up and, be able to play like she has throughout the whole entire season is she's part of the reason, a big part of the reason why we became a ranked program. We would not be where we are at without her.
Nash Bolden, along with Casey McGinley, she was named to the all-conference team. It's funny, I talked to her and I said, don't you get tired? And she says, no, I love it. I love playing every single minute of every game. Swing and a miss there from Sydney Dwyer. Strikeout number 2 on the afternoon for Brianna Maha, back-to-back strikeouts. And now with 2 outs, step into the box, Maddie Houlihan. So we talked about Jordan Nash Bolden, a sophomore. She'll be returning next year. Other returners: Catherine Jones, who I mentioned earlier, Alyssa Ayers. Molly Potter is another interesting player to me because she didn't record any points in the stat sheet this year, but she was quite effective for you guys.
She was. That's also another player where we can throw her out in any situation. She doesn't complain. She just goes out there and gets the job done. And, we've already talked to her about it as well, but next year we're really looking at her as one of our top defensemen moving into her junior year.
With the loss of Casey McGinley, it's important to have a dynamic defenseman who can be trusted to hold down the blue line. 0-2 the count to Maddie Houlihan. Flew out her last time up. 0-2 pitch coming from Maha, and that's fouled back to the screen. So looking at this past season as a whole, how did your expectations at the beginning of the season compare to where things ended in Fremont, Nebraska?
Yeah, I think, I always have very, very high expectations, and At the beginning of the season, the girls know that. They know what our goals are as a program, and, we all try to reach them together. And, just looking at the outcomes of our games and just all the growth that we've had just in 2 years is incredible. I mean, it's so crazy to me how quickly we're growing, all the traction we're gaining with our program, and the amount of fans that come to our games. It's really, really cool to see.
Now, that was one of the interesting things about the schedule. A lot of late-night games. Obviously, you share the rink with the NCAA team, 2 other ACHA men's teams at ASU. How much did it build the strength of your team to have 7 a.m. practices and then sometimes 11 p.m. games?
They definitely were able to deal with many, many different situations. And, when you wake up that early before class, that's dedication in itself. I know 7 a.m. as a college student is very, very early for them. So to be able to go off a 7 a.m. practice and then have a game at 10 p.m. the next day is, that's just the card we were dealt. And, they were able to push through it all.
So looking at the season as a whole, 8 wins, 6 more than their inaugural season. Ended the season as a ranked team. The short bench, their first ever playoff appearance. The pitch is fouled off. So we'll talk about it a little more in the next half inning, but what's next for Arizona State women's hockey?
More wins, hopefully. We have, right now we already have 11 players committed for next year, and we are still talking to a few more, and we have 3 recruiting events coming up very quickly. So, it's hard not to be excited about the development of our program. And, I'm just ready for another hockey season already.
2-2 pitch flat out to center field. Morgan Howe can't see it. She lets it drop in front of her. Coming across to score, Ellie Jensen. Holding up at second, Kendall Lindemann. And Minnesota is on the board for the first time this series. Morgan Howe loses a fly ball in the sun. The Gophers have runners on second and third. They bring the score within 1. So they'll rule it a double. Howe not given an error. So again, scoring on the play for Minnesota was Ellie Jensen. Standing on third, Kendall Lindemann. Pitch is fielded by Brianna Maha. She throws on over to first, but Minnesota, they inch closer. The score 2-1. When we come back in the bottom of the third inning, we'll continue talking with Coach Ellis about the development of the team and what they have in store for next season. I'm Nick Batter. Stick with us. You're listening and watching on Pac-12 Plus. Welcome back into Farrington Stadium. Nick Batters with you on Pac-12 Plus. Happy to have you here. Arizona State softball. The Sun Devils now a bit closer to the Golden Gophers. 2-1's the score as Jade Gortara steps into the box. She'll take the first pitch off the plate. So in the top half of the third inning, we talked with Coach Ellis. Lindsey Ellis, the head coach of the Arizona State women's hockey team, joining us in the broadcast booth for this third inning. We talked about what happened in the 2017-18 season. Now we look ahead to the 2018-19 season as the line drive snagged by the third baseman, Daniel Parlick. That'll be a quick out, number 1. But like I was talking about, we mentioned it a little bit in the last half inning. You lose all 4 of your senior captains. So we mentioned names like Alyssa Ayers and Molly Potter, who presumably would step into more of a leadership role. But as a coach, how do you fill those voids losing all 4 of your seniors and all 4 of your captains?
I think that's when, in the fall when all the girls come back and we have all of our incoming players is, that's the time when you really see who steps up as a leader. And, once August rolls around, I think it'll be, very clear who our leaders will be.
You have some players who have played together before. Megan Morochek and Jordan Nash Bolden played together on the Lady Coyotes. Aubrey Beskett has a former teammate joining the team this fall. We talk about the recruits that are joining the team in the fall, and already 11, still more to come. You'll be adding a couple of goalies, so it'll be nice to have some depth in that position. 0-2 pitch. Popped up, foul territory. Parlick fields it, and that's out number 2. As the program develops, how nice is it to get better and better recruits to help grow the program? Obviously, you have some talented players coming in.
It's exactly what we need. not to say that none of our girls, didn't have skill or anything like that, but just the girls that are coming in is, we're going to be able to see some skills that we've never seen before with this program, and that really makes a difference between wins and losses.
One of the things that you've done to help grow the program is hold prospect camps, prospect skates. To this point, they've only taken place in the state of Arizona, but this summer you're headed to Minnesota.
We are. Minnesota obviously is the state of hockey, and our recruiting trips are so limited with our location, so we're excited to see all the girls in Minnesota and the surrounding states be able to come and skate and see what Sun Devil hockey is like.
A couple of Minnesota natives on this past season's roster. Pitch to Nicole Chilson is taken inside for a ball. The count now 2-1. Brianna Hersom and Amber Gallus, both Minnesota natives, but 2-1 pitch on the way. That's taken outside for ball 3, so the count 3-1. In terms of building a program, how much does it help to be able to start holding prospect skates and prospect camps out of state and bring in more new players from places other than Arizona?
It makes a world of a difference in recruiting, and there's 40 girls that we'll see that we would not normally see at all. So it's just really exciting for us to be able to have the opportunities to be able to do these types of things and bring that talent down to Arizona.
Several Arizona natives on this roster. The 2017-18 season, Scottsdale, Tempe, Gilbert, Mesa. 3-2 pitch, line into the glove of the second baseman, McKenna Partain. That'll end the inning, but Coach, if you don't mind, I have a few more questions if you want to stick around for another half inning.
Yeah, of course.
2-1's the score here after 3 at Farrington Stadium. You're listening and watching Arizona State Softball on Pac-12 Plus. So a quick bottom of the third inning for Arizona State. ASU, for the first time in quite some time, they go down 1-2-3. Sydney Smith retired the heart of the Sun Devil order. Now Brianna Maha will head back to the mound. Erica Roselle steps to the box. First pitch to her. Taken inside for a ball. Still with me, the head coach of the Arizona State women's hockey team, Lindsey Ellis. The team just wrapped up their second season. Received their first ever bid for the WWCHL playoffs, which were held in beautiful Fremont, Nebraska. And while the Devils were not able to come out with a victory, there were still 2 very strong games that you played against some rather good teams.
Yes, they definitely were. To be able to perform against Lindenwood Belleville like we did was, just really, really huge for our program, and just shows, how, great we'll be in the future.
1-1 pitch taken off the plate. Maha to Roselle. So if we look at the history of the WWCHL playoffs and your first season as a program, ASU hosted the WWCHL playoffs at Oceanside Ice Arena in Tempe. This past year, Midland University were the hosts. The 2-1 pitch. Chopper fielded by Stankiewicz. She throws on over to first. Danielle Gibson's there. And that's the first out of the top of the fourth inning. But looking ahead to next season, I understand that the playoffs are going to be hosted by ASU, but not in the state of Arizona.
Yes, we will be hosting in beautiful Las Vegas, Nevada, at City National Arena, which is the official practice facility of the Vegas Golden Knights, and then the home of UNLV hockey.
So the 2018-19 WWCHL playoffs. Breaking news here on Pac-12 Plus. We're going to be hosted in Las Vegas, so very exciting times for ASU women's hockey. How much does being able to host the playoffs for a second time in such a beautiful venue help grow the program?
Yeah, I mean, it's just, to be able to host such an event like that, in a place like Las Vegas, especially like a place with the Golden Knights, which is a huge first-year NHL program that, a lot of people hear stories about. But just for us to be able to host this type of event there, it's, gets our name out there more and gets us a lot more, coverage in the sense that people don't know exactly who we are yet. And
that's one of the special things about the Las Vegas Golden Knights. Currently one of the best teams And then in the NHL is the 1-1 pitch to Allie Arneson. The shortstop is fouled off. Then joined by the head coach of Arizona State women's hockey, Lindsey Ellis. The Las Vegas Golden Knights have really changed the landscape of the NHL, and hockey at Arizona State has really changed the landscape of collegiate hockey. The men's NCAA team became an NCAA team very recently. Still 2 ACHA teams that are both very, very strong. Historically in the conversation every year for a national championship, and now we have Arizona State women's hockey. There was a lot of coverage of the team at the end of this past season. ESPN mentioned you guys in an article. A lot of the local news outlets picked up the story about the team making the playoffs for the first time. 2-2 pitches fouled back. How special is it if I don't know if you ever sit back and think about exactly what you're doing, but really not only changing the landscape of hockey in the West Coast and in the state of Arizona, but specifically women's hockey, the growth of the ASU program's done a lot.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy to look back on it. And, when we announced the program, it was right when ASU had announced they were going NCAA, so everybody thought we were NCAA as well. But, that excitement was still there once they did find out it was an ACHA program. But just thinking back of, we were struggling to find gear at first and, where we were going to order gear from, and now we're at this point. So it's really, really exciting, and just to be able to keep growing and learning.
The 2-2 pitch fouled off the hands of Allie Arneson. That'll hold the count at 2-2. And we talked about the correlation of your program starting around the same time the men's team announced that they were going NCAA, and that was on the heels of a national championship victory in 2014. How much did that national championship inspire you to help start the program?
I think it completely, if they hadn't won, I don't know if I really would have thought about it to that extent. And, it's just unbelievable what they were able to do with their program and have so much support and be able to now turn NCAA. So, that's really a path that we'd like to follow.
In 2014, like I said, the ASU D1 ACHA team won the national championship. 2-2 pitch. Swung on a miss for strike 3. The second out of the top of the 4th inning, down on strikes, is Allie Arneson. Carly Brandt will step to the box. Like I was saying, in 2014, ASU, the men, won the national championship, and you won the national championship as well with the Miami Redhawks. At the end of the season, the last regular season road trip, you got to go back to Goggin Ice Arena, play against your former team. What was that experience like for you?
It was really exciting, and I know the girls they knew I was excited going into it. And,
yeah.
Just that first puck drop, it was kind of crazy because the idea of that team started, in Oxford, Ohio. So to be able to have that team there was just, really came full circle.
So the 2014 ACHA D1 national champions on the men's side, Arizona State on the women's side. A Miami team with Peoria native Lindsey Ellis on the roster. Fast forward almost exactly 4 years. Now the women are fresh off their first ever playoff berth. Pitch is grounded up the middle. Brianna Maha to Danielle Gibson, and that will retire the side. Thank you very much for joining me, Lindsey. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
To follow the ASU women's hockey team and what they do the rest of the season, you can head over to ASUwomen'shockey.com or follow them on Twitter at ASU Women's Hockey. Again, I've been joined the last inning and a half by the head coach of the ASU women's hockey team, Lindsey Ellis. ASU, they hold Minnesota. The score 2-1. We head to the bottom of the 4th inning. Sun Devils Gophers. You're listening and watching on Pac-12 Plus.